A political empire is on the verge of total collapse. And for once, the target isn't Donald Trump, it's the man who dared to stand in his way. We are talking about a seismic shift in global power that could end the career of Mark Carney before his first term as Canada's leader even hits its stride. The fuse was lit in a basement in Florida, and the explosion is about to happen in Ottawa. Hidden within the mountains of classified documents seized from Mar-a-Lago, a new trail of evidence has emerged. These aren't just files on nuclear secrets or foreign spies. They are the Carney files. For months, rumors have swirled in Washington's elite circles that Donald Trump is sitting on a kill switch for Mark Carney's political life. We are talking about highly sensitive communications, encrypted memos, and back-channel agreements that were never meant to see the light of day. Is this just a classic Trump revenge plot against a man who publicly mocked his America First economic isolationism? Or has the Wizard of Finance actually left a paper trail of betrayal that could brand him a liability to his own nation? The stakes could not be higher. If these documents confirm even a fraction of the allegations, illegal lobbying, suppressed financial ties, or private coordination with foreign entities, Mark Carney won't just lose his seat. He could face a legacy of disgrace. The man who was supposed to be the adult in the room is now staring down the barrel of a weapon loaded by his greatest rival. It is April 2026. Mark Carney has just secured a historic parliamentary majority in Canada, riding a wave of Canada First sentiment after Donald Trump's repeated threats of annexation and 100% tariffs. Carney has positioned himself as the global anti-Trump, the defender of the middle powers. But behind the scenes, a different story is being written. The U.S. House Judiciary Committee recently dropped a bombshell. They have obtained previously undisclosed documents from the Mar-a-Lago investigation that were accessible to only 6 people in the entire U.S. government. And according to insiders, these files contain a folder labeled with a name no one expected to see. Project Maple, Carney, 2021 to 2025. The Smoking Gun, a financial double game. The core of the scandal lies in Carney's lost years, the period between his role at the Bank of England and his ascent to the Prime Minister's office. During this time, Carney was the global envoy for climate action, moving in circles that Trump has long labeled as the globalist deep state. The documents allegedly suggest that while Carney was publicly preaching about green energy and economic independence, he was privately engaged in high-level financial negotiations that crossed paths with Trump's business interests and several unnamed foreign entities. The figures we are talking about are transactions tied to infrastructure funds totaling over $4.5 billion. The conflict. If these documents show that Carney sought personal or political favors from the Trump administration, or worse, used his global influence to benefit Trump-aligned corporations, his image as a principled leader is dead. The Davos rupture and the kill switch. Remember, January 20th, 2026, at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Carney delivered his famous principled and pragmatic speech. He called Trump's policies a rupture of the world order. Within 48 hours, Trump rescinded Canada's invitation to the Board of Peace and threatened to treat Canada like a hostile competitor. Was this just a trade war, or was Trump sending a message? I have the files, Mark. Sources within the Department of Justice, DOJ, indicate that some of the scanned documents found in Trump's possession include encrypted communications from 2024. These logs reportedly show a series of back-channel meetings between Carney's inner circle and Trump's top advisors, including Susie Wiles, during the height of the Canadian election campaign. If Carney was cutting deals with the man he was publicly attacking, it is more than just hypocrisy. It is political treason, a career on the brink. The pressure is mounting. In Ottawa, Pierre Poilievre and the opposition are already using these leaks to paint Carney as a man of secrets. They claim his recent majority wasn't won through the ballot box, but through backroom deals and the suppression of these very documents. Carney's defense. He calls it misinformation and foreign interference. But as the Knight First Amendment Institute pushes for the full release of the special counsel's report, the clock is ticking. If the report proves that Carney's rise to power was facilitated by information held in Trump's private safe, the Wizard of Finance will have no spells left to cast. Donald Trump doesn't just want to win a trade war, he wants to destroy the man who tried to lead the resistance against him. And he might just have the paperwork to do it. The board is set, and the pieces are moving with a lethality we haven't seen in modern politics. We are no longer just discussing a few misplaced folders in a Florida basement or a procedural oversight in Ottawa. We are witnessing the potential demolition of a global icon. If these Carney files are as explosive as the whispers from the Judiciary Committee suggest, we are about to see a historic reversal of fortune. The man who was heralded by the international media as a savior of the West, the intellectual heavyweight capable of outmaneuvering the Trump phenomenon, could be remembered as nothing more than a footnote in Donald Trump's long list of political conquests. But let's step back and look at the bigger, darker picture. In an era where truth is often the first casualty of war, we have to ask the most dangerous question of all: who is truly pulling the strings? If Mark Carney falls, the Middle Power Coalition, that fragile alliance of nations trying to survive the 2026 Trump-era trade wars, shatters instantly. Canada loses its helmsman, and the world loses its primary critic of the America First doctrine. We must consider the possibility that these documents were strategically unearthed and leaked at this precise moment because Carney's influence was becoming an existential threat to the Mar-a-Lago administration's global agenda. Is this a genuine discovery of deep-seated corruption, or is it the ultimate piece of political theater, a high-tech character assassination designed to send a chilling message to any other world leader who thinks they can defy the new American order? On the other hand, we cannot ignore the deafening silence emanating from the Prime Minister's office in Ottawa. In the shark-infested waters of high-stakes politics, silence isn't always golden. Sometimes it's a scream of desperation. Why hasn't Carney launched a massive defamation suit? Why are the most powerful lawyers in Canada working overtime to seal the records of his 2024 private consultations? If there is nothing to hide, why does it feel like the government is holding its breath, waiting for the other shoe to drop? The implications of this scandal are staggering, reaching far beyond the borders of North America. If the documents prove that Carney played both sides, publicly posturing as the anti-Trump hero while privately negotiating for his own financial and political interests, the damage to the institution of the Canadian government will take decades to repair. It would prove that even the adults in the room are susceptible to the same backroom dealings they claim to despise. So the question now rests with you, the observers of this grand drama. Is Mark Carney a victim of a sophisticated, weaponized smear campaign? Or is he a man being punished for his defiance by a rival who plays by no rules and keeps every receipt? Or is he the ultimate globalist chameleon, a leader who thought he could outsmart the king of the deal only to find himself entangled in a web of his own making? What happens to the global economy if its most respected architect is proven to be a fraud? And more importantly, if Trump can use secret documents to neutralize a G7 leader who is actually in charge of the Western world? The comment section is open. I want to hear your theories. Is this the definitive end of the Carney era, or is this just the opening move in Trump's global purge? The truth is buried in those files, but the consequences will be felt by every single one of us watching this unfold in real time. Because this is no longer just about Mark Carney or Donald Trump. This is about the rules of the game itself. Who writes them, who breaks them, and who gets exposed when the system turns on its own players. If a sitting G7 leader can be taken down, not by elections, not by policy failure, but by a cache of hidden documents pulled from the shadows, then no position of power is truly secure anymore. Every alliance becomes suspect. Every speech becomes a performance. Every handshake hides a potential secret. And that is where the real danger lies, not just in what these files may reveal, but in what they represent. A new era of political warfare where information is the ultimate weapon and timing is everything. If this is the playbook now, then what we are witnessing is not an isolated scandal, but a blueprint, a strategy that can be replicated, refined, and deployed against anyone who dares to step out of line. So as the pressure builds and the walls begin to close in, one thing is certain: the next move will not just decide Carney's fate, it will send a message to the entire world. Stay in line or risk everything.